in a sense, what it is you see the faith in the people of India come out, and they all want to be there. It's also an idea, and also idea is like, everybody grows up reading these books about the sadhus and the sages. And you go there, and there's just like thousands of them for they come out of the woodwork, So people want to see the sages. They want to bathe in the river at the auspicious time, and so they'll travel long distances to do it. But what I see happening now is this Kumbh Mela. What the impression I get
Yeah.
is that there's been a convergence of a couple things that have really made it blow up, which is like the social media age, and
Yeah.
India catching up with that.
Yeah.
And then also, especially it was kicked off last year with the Ram opening of the Ram Mandir. There's just like there's an enthusiasm within India of like you could call
Recreating classic India.
Oh yeah, you
India.
could. I would call it. In its best manifestation, I would call it enthusiasm, and in its less than best manifestation, I call it pride. But like
National pride, yeah.
an enthusiasm for the spiritual heritage of India is really alive in people now.
It's all over the world.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Marine Drive in Mumbai. This is Wisdom of the Sages, the daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. It's episode 1524. Today is January 26th in 2025, and we are recovering from the Flower Festival. Incredible time last night. Today's Q&A day, people writing questions. If you have questions, you can put them on the Wisdom of the Sages board if you're a Sage community member, or you can write Miss Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. But it is a community-supported podcast. Thanks for everybody who chips in, gives a little something every month, and makes this happen for us. And we were here live together, me and Kaustubha, hanging out. And we had a beautiful night last night at the Flower Festival.
Always
Lots of sweet joy. It was getting weird for a while, if you want to know the honest truth, because all the different pilgrimage groups started going at that time because it's such a fun festival. But slowly we started working the local community out of it.
Yeah.
It became just like I felt like a colonist. I felt like the British. I was the British, you were the Moguls. And we were sort of like taking over India. And Indians are so kind. They're just like, you please, you go. So it's like all the white guys were in the temple room and everybody else was sitting outside watching on a giant screen. But I think Radha Swami was like, you know what? This is actually a very special festival. We're going to make one just for the local community, which happened on, what's that holy day called?
Makara Sankranti.
Makara Sankranti. And so then we had ours, and it was super fun.
It was super fun. Beautiful.
I don't know if you're allowed to say this, but that I led the best kirtan of my life.
You think so?
Yeah, I was. But I'm taking no credit because my kirtans...
No, of course not.
What does that mean? I say that only because the drummers were so damn good. Okay. They made me sound better than I actually am. But also, I was playing a song that we were reoccurring. It was reoccurring in our training theme. And Bobby's leaving. So we're saying, bye, Bobby, bye, Frankie.
Month together. Bye, Frankie.
They're heading back home.
Hey, is there any AC in this room?
Come on, because
it's like it's stuffy in here.
Yeah, no, we don't use AC. We're not attached to it.
Okay.
But anyway, I want to say
but you have to be able to open a window then.
The drummers make me sound better than I am.
Okay.
So that's what I'm giving the credit to the drummers.
That's good.
It was rock. Oh, and I was saying that all the students knew this melody, so they were so excited that as soon as I started, they all just started singing the call as well as the response. So it was fun.
Nice. It was a beautiful evening. So many highlights. Too many to get into. Reconnecting with a lot of old friends.
I know.
And,
it was.
Yeah, loved it. All right.
You know what I'm realizing? Like a lot of our old friends are actually getting old.
Okay.
And like, for example, you and I you know, your body, my body, it's like the hands of a
Your
clock. You know what I mean? We don't notice that we're getting old. It's only other people notice we're getting old. But then you see this next level age, like I'm about to turn 60 next year, in a year from now. So is he. In a year from now.
you're 59. I'm younger than
His birthday's next week, people. Don't let him fool you. But my point is, there comes a point where you start getting to this point where like everything's just sort of breaks down and you become old. And if you want my God honest truth, I'm a little fearful of it.
Are you?
I'm a little fearful of it. I haven't fully accepted that I'm spirit soul. I fully haven't fully accepted that I'm, because there's problems that come with getting old. And when you're young as a devotee, you say, yeah, birth, death, disease, old age, etc. And you're like, yeah, death. But old age is actually a thing. It like takes over your body. And like your body, it's like having a machine or a toy that's broken. It's like I've got this RC car, but it doesn't go anymore. I can just push it now. And this is sort of the nature. So yeah, truthfully, watching our friends who are not that much older than us, maybe a few years older than us, like getting older, it's sort of like it triggers me with some anxiety. If you want the God honest truth.
Bubba Ganoush, we're here for you. Okay, it's all right.
Come on, you don't think of those things?
You're doing good. You're
You don't
doing
think of those
good.
things?
No, we'll take care of you. And you start to fall apart. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you feeling otherwise?
I feel
Any-
good. I feel good. I feel tired. It was a busy month, and tomorrow we jump right back into. We're off to the airport early in the morning and on to Mayapur with the next group.
Yeah, we're leaving at what time, Mara? 6 a.m.
Something like that. Something like that.
6:30, going to the airport, flying to Calcutta. And then so yeah, we're back. This was our day off, and we were up to midnight last night. I slept in today. Kaustubha
Okay.
slept to 8 o'clock.
Okay.
8 o'clock, went for a long walk, like a 2.5 mile walk to the temple from here. And nice. Had some watermelon juice.
Good. Good.
Had a great day. A great
Okay,
day.
let's keep this moving. I know there's a lot of wonderful details to your day. But we wanted to bring on a special guest before we get to the Q&A, right?
Yeah.
But before we do that, we should check in with Mara.
Miss Mara. Stick your little head in here, Mara.
Can I have your microphone? Okay. There's no show tomorrow because we're all traveling to Mayapur, and then we'll be shifting show time to 6:30 a.m. Eastern time for the rest of the week.
Extra half an hour.
What is that in India time?
5 p.m. India time.
5 p.m. India time, 6:30 a.m.
Eastern time.
Eastern time. Yeah. And if I have a signal, I'm going to try to do a lot of Instagram lives. So
Okay. Nice.
note that, and I'll keep them up for like 10 hours or something, but then I take them down.
Like, there's no way we can shift that over to the Sage community platform.
No, not with Instagram Live.
All right. Did you want to bring on our special guest today?
Yeah. Mallory, aka Malini Radha, is going through it right now. She's in the hospital in India. It's nothing India did to her. She didn't like get hit by a bull or anything. She's dealing with some sickness, but she's getting some love at the hospital, Bhaktivedanta Hospital. But we want to check in with her. And I know Mara's been texting her all day. How are you, Malini? How are you?
I have the best friends.
Look at her.
Actually, Narayani came and visited me earlier and brought
Good.
gifts, one of which is a new book. And if you know me, that
Ooh.
makes me really excited. Mara brought
Yes.
me a book when I was in GV. So I think when you're really going through things in life, or a big blessing about not having a lot of energy, is you realize what's important. Like you're only given so much that you can do in a day. So what do you want to do with that time? And I'm just realizing the connections that I have, what a blessing that is. And like, I want to stay connected to those people. And yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Malini was living at the farm, big part of our community upstate. And then some guy dropped in and they fell in love. It was a romance at Super Soul Farm. And they fell in love, got married. And Rasik's there by her bedside right now, taking loving care of her. He's not doing any of the operations, right? He's just giving you emotional and loving support. But they've been traveling all around India to different clinics, but they're at the Bhaktivedanta hospital. What's it like at the hospital there?
Amazing. Like, everyone is so kind here, and I literally had Lord Jagannath and Baladev and Subhadra wheeled into my room today, and someone was washing my hand for me and putting marigolds in it and helping
look at
me
that.
Oh
make
my God.
offering. And yeah, it's just, or like, for example, I've been in hospitals before, and if I were to ever ask someone like for my japa bag, an example, like people are gonna look at like, what? Could you explain what it is that you want? And here you ask for that and no problem. Or right before getting in to surgery, Rasik was real sweet, and I asked him to chant for me, and he's chanting, and no one's like, no one thinks
Weirded.
anything of it. People are like, Mahamantra, yeah, that is a really good idea. You should be doing that. And
You should be chanting
watch
now.
the whole medical staff all make offerings to the Lord and take prasadam before they went in. And also everyone in the hospital here for the most part has sandals on, and I don't know why, but I really dig that. Just seems a little more like relaxed vibe. Yeah.
It's amazing. For those who don't know, when she said Lord Jagannath was wheeled in, so there's these deities of Jagannath, which is Krishna, and Baladev, which is Balaram, Krishna's older brother, and Subhadra, with his Krishna's sister, and they're like a cart. It's like an altar,
mobile temple.
mobile little temple. They wheeled it in, and when they said they poured water in her hand, they were cleaning her hand with sacred water, and then so she got to offer flowers to the mobile altar.
They bring the temple to you.
Yeah. Full
Yes.
service here.
Yeah, I wonder if Albany Med is going to start that. Do you think so, Mara?
Someday.
Or St. Peter's in Hudson? I don't think so. But and I heard yesterday, like when you were having surgery, there was like Lord Nrsingadev was painted on the roof,
Ceiling.
on the ceiling.
So not in the room that they used for myself, but I'm sure someone else got to take that darshan, and I think I was just excited the thought that is even there. But it was neat, the whole operating space, instead of it just being stark white, is painted in this really awesome peacock blue shade.
Wow.
So it's like,
Are you on
yeah.
pain meds right now? Tell us the truth.
Any type of pharmaceuticals.
A little bit.
Well, are you having, because you are famously a very deep spiritual thinker.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
also because you struggle with your health, and we've seen you in your very strong health, and we've seen you in weak health. Are you getting deep realizations? Do you have any realizations that you like to share with us, especially for those perhaps who are in good health right now, just about life in general, or any realizations or little nuggets you can share with us?
Be present. Yeah, be present. You don't know what's coming next. And I think most regrets that I have are because I wasn't present to the goodness of the moment. I think it can be really easy in our society for us to not have self-compassion, and if you don't have that, then you're not fully living. Yeah. So just like love yourself and love others. Yeah. I know that seems like really like bumper sticker, but
That's
it
Raghunath likes the
really
bump.
is kind of like that simple. Yeah, I think for a long time in my spiritual life, I was overcomplicating it and using it as a reason to kind of beat myself up, getting hung up on the, I wish I understood this more. I wish I could do more, this or that. But really, it's like take a step back and really put into practice seeing God in other people, because you show up differently, you listen differently, you hear people differently, you speak differently. And that's like that's yeah, that's what I would like to
I like
work
that.
towards more. And also like the power of a good releasing of wind. You know, don't hold that stuff in. I think that's been an amazing thing about being in India, is like, yeah, answering the call of nature. Like
Did we just
Maharaj
say
in
wind?
mind.
Did we just say wind? Okay.
We'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Well, I never, you can ask Mayor, I never fall for that horrible yeah. Um, do you ever, when you're going through your pain and you're going through a struggle, do you get to this point where you're like angry at God, angry at Krishna? Why me? Do you, I mean, it's a very natural thing to, and I say natural, I mean in the most unnatural way, because we're actually spirit souls. But how do you deal with your own mind if it does go there? And or do you deal with it? Do you get bitter at God for putting you in a tough situation physically?
Yeah, I have moments, but I think it's brought me closer to Krishna because I talked to him about it. I'm not just like in any relationship, like it's so easy in this day and age to just cut someone out of your life. But if you can get over yourself and talk to people, and like Krishna's a person too. So just like talking to him and explaining how I feel. And then I have, you know, the good fortune of I'm pretty slow moving right now, and I'm not doing a whole lot. And I think that's given me the great mercy of I can hear a lot better. So like when I come to talk to him, I feel like it's reciprocated. And then sometimes I'm having points where, you know, I'm angry and I don't want to talk to him, and in those points I find the best way to get out of that is reaching out to someone that you know is feeling connected right now, to remind you who you really are. We need each other, and it's so easy when you're not feeling the best in different regards, not just your physical health, but maybe your mental health or your finances or your physical appearance, like any of those things. Just remembering that there's just way more to life. Yeah, and it's other people that are gonna see you through that. It's not hiding away until you are proper to show up, or whatever like society or your parents have told you. Like, people are gonna love you in your entirety. That's what love is.
That's beautiful. Well, you know, you're in our prayers, and we think about you all day long. Well, especially when you're in the hospital like this. And everybody here on the podcast is going to give you a big Maha mantra right now. Ready? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For some reason, Kaustubha didn't. As maybe you were doing it internally through your mind. Do you have an explanation for that, Kaustubha?
I can, but I won't get into it now.
Okay. But we love you, and our heart goes out to your husband too, because taking care of a person that's not feeling well, that's a lot of work too. So Rasika, we want to just validate all this struggle you're going through, taking care of someone struggling, because it's hard to, but you couldn't be with a sweeter, more loving person. And I know you know that, Harry Bolt, and we can't wait to walk around Govardhan Hill with both of you guys again. Harry
Yeah.
The
Bolt,
day will come. The day will come.
thank you so much, and keep us posted. We're gonna check in with you and pester you. Rasik, you have my number. Reach out if you need anything from us. We're at your service, okay? And saying lots of prayers tomorrow when we get to Mayapur for you both. Harry Bolt.
Shringadev. Oh, we're doing the Shringadev.
Oh, we're gonna do a Shringadev Yagya for you guys.
Fantastic. Thanks, you guys.
Haribo. All right, that's the show.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, so it's Q&A day, people. We did start the show, right?
Yeah, we just start the show.
Okay, we started the show. Okay, so it's Q&A day. That's when people write in questions. Here's our first question, and it's from this person that keeps constantly writing us. Bhakti Anonymous, his
The
name
juicy
is.
ones.
Can you talk about initiation?
More about initiation.
More about initiation. I know you've said in the past that when someone is ready to listen to a guru's instruction, they should consider. But it feels like more than that to me. Senior devotees have said to think of it as the beginning, not something to do after you feel confident in the resolving of all doubts. Should I think of it as comparable to baptism in the Christian tradition, a cleaning of past sins and a commitment to the path? What do you think? Good question.
It's not so much what I think. It's what
Excuse me, Mr. Kaustubha. It's not what he thinks.
It's not what I think. It's what the tradition says. Okay. But let's look at that. And this is something that we've been speaking about a little bit lately is, people might think, oh, I want to get initiated, and when I do that, I'm going to wake up the next day and I'm going to feel different.
Mm.
And there's in his Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami shares this verse where he describes what is diksha or initiation. And he says that which bestows divine knowledge and eradicates one's bad karma, one's papam or one's sin, but one's bad karma. That's called diksha. That's called initiation by those who are expert in knowing the spiritual truths. So that idea that you receive knowledge of who I am, knowledge of what this world is, knowledge of who God is, knowledge of the connection of each of them, and the conviction that arises in one. There's an inner awakening that takes place when you hear these words and you assimilate them, and they go into your ears and through your mind and into your heart, and you develop a conviction that. And here's the conviction. I want to give this life to God, right? I want to live, I've been living, I don't know how many lifetimes I've been living for my own selfish, self-centered purposes. I now realize that was a faulty way, a faulty approach to find happiness in this world. I want to dedicate myself to that beautiful Lord Krishna, fully. That's called diksha. And when it talks about it eradicating one's bad karma, is because when you know that and when you make the decision that this is what I will do with my life, the bad karma that we have in life is meant to get us to that point, is meant to bring us to the point where once you say, like there's those verses, like, is it Lord Ram that says, when someone one time says, from this day on, I am yours.
Yeah.
Right. That's initiation, right? That something got initiated in you. It's not, don't think of it so much as the ceremony. The ceremony is a formal declaration of it. But quite frankly, if you make a formal declaration, but you haven't had that awakening within, nothing's been initiated, right? It's just it's just a show. What's initiated is that conviction in the heart. So it's not, I think our writer said, they felt that it's not something to do after you feel confident in resolving all doubts. It may not be that all your doubts are resolved, but your doubts about wanting to give your life to Krishna has been resolved. It's like that's initiation. That's awoken in you. And then there's then the ceremony itself we can talk about, but there's some skaras, there's rituals that are done to kind of solidify it.
Sure.
Kind of tighten it up.
Like
through a process. So
I like this. I like you.
I like you too.
I do.
Thank you. But generally, in our lineage, and I'd imagine many others, they have something called Pancha Samskaram, 5 samskars, 5 rites of passage that are performed at the initiation ceremony. And they include tapa, which means like austerity for us. That means the 4 regulative principles that we choose to follow. If you're going to initiate someone into a lineage of spiritual practice, then there's going to have to be some self-discipline involved. So for us, that tapa is our following the 4 regulative principles. Then there's pondram, which is the tilak. I don't see so much that we make that part of our initiation ceremony.
So much.
Maybe for someone
that's
never
done it.
First
start wearing tilak. You officially wear tilak.
in I know in the Ramanuja Sampradaya and the Sri Sampradaya, that's you get branded actually branded with those markings.
Yeah, I'd like to sort of bring that into our tradition.
Would you?
Branding,
Yeah, you got
more branding.
There needs to be more
Maybe
branding.
get tattooed on my neck.
And then there's Nama. You receive a new name, which is kind of helps you take on a new identity.
Hmm.
And then you receive the mantra. There's mantra. You receive the mantras from the guru. And then yagna. There's some in our case we generally do a homa, a fire sacrifice wherein prayers are offered and grains are offerings are made to the Lord in the form of this sacred fire.
Mm.
And so you go through those five, and then there's something called Atma Samarpanam, where we do this, where you bow down before the guru, and you give your life.
Oh,
like that.
sure. Bow down.
You
The
bow down.
guru
Yeah.
wants my money.
So that's what it is. But here's the point that I think is most essential. When you think of initiation, don't think just of the ceremony.
Mm.
That's an external display. Really, there's an awakening that takes place that's initiated in the heart of the disciple. My conviction that through hearing these words, I've developed the conviction I want to give my life, and I'll accept the instruction of this person who's awakened this in me, or others that are, that are in line with these teachings, so that I can do this in the most effective way.
I like it.
Okay, you want to share thoughts too?
Here's what I was thinking. Practice precedes commitment.
Practice precedes
You know,
commitment.
you can't just like, I love this woman, I'm going to marry her. Okay, well, you date, you court each other in the
Courting, wooing.
courting, wooing, perhaps.
Wooing.
Sometimes you got to woo them, and then you go woo. But so just for example, with the Olympics, I practice. I can't just commit to do the Olympics. It's not in the commitment that we develop our strength. It's the practice preceding the commitment that we become strong. So if I practice every day, my slalom, my downhill, whatever they do in the Olympics, then the commitment makes more sense. Now I'm going to go for it. So the same thing with our spiritual life. We're in a state of practice. Then you make those commitments. Now, that being said, initiation means the beginning. The very word means beginning, because I find that it's very understandable. We have different seasons of life. And sometimes in our young season, when we're young and passionate about things, we sometimes bite off more than we can chew. And so we might make a commitment, and then you have to reframe and re-ask yourself these questions again and again. Am I committed? Sometimes you have to ask yourself those things every day. So it's not just like I've flicked on a light switch and now I'm committed to God, because once you do make that choice, you're going to be asked on a regular basis. For example, we were just asking Melanie, it's like, how do you deal with doubts? How do you deal with, why is God doing this to me? Some people, it's like, I'm praying to God, I'm serving God. Why is God abandoning me? Someone could come up with that. And so we're going to have to pass different spiritual tests to see some divine hand in everything that's happening to ourselves. And sometimes we have to recommit. Krishna, I know I'm going through this particular hell right now, or some loss or betrayal, or some heartbreak. Why did you do this to me? I'm going to understand, like, you actually have my interest. I'm going to go on with my identity as part and parcel of you, me being a tiny, loving servant of yours. Even though this material world is falling apart, I understand that this is a material world. It's not the spiritual world. So our faith gets tested on a regular basis, so that initiation is the beginning of our tests that we've been practicing up to. And then it's going to keep going. It doesn't end. I don't think it's safe to say that once I get initiated, now it's scot-free. Now everything's downhill. Sometimes I see people get initiated and they just leave. They stop. Well, okay, I got the name. I'm out of here. It wasn't as exciting as I thought.
Maybe they were more interested in the externals than they were of the real substance.
Sure.
I mean, I don't want to judge everyone, but that's a possibility.
That could be a possibility. But we get tested in our spiritual life. And of course, with Vaishnavism, the worship of Krishna, there's a lot of these real subtle things that we got to get rid of. If I'm arrogant, if I'm rude, if I'm cruel to the devotees, Krishna takes offense to that. And even if I'm very sincere, that bad habit, that I've smuggled into my spiritual life. The bad habit from my past life, that when I was extra rude or extra cruel, or what did we say? We were joking today, where it's like some guy's giving me the, what do I call it? Mad dog in me. So what are you looking at? I tell the story in my book too. Some devotees, like sometimes in India,
Mad dog in you?
they get really close to you, just like stare at
and
you.
lamps.
It's just, these are things that are, these are things that are, cultural differences. You know what I mean? So sometimes in India, people get real close, they stare at you like that. And I lost it as a brand new devotee. I just resorted to my New Yorker habits. I was like, "What's up?" And I was like, got in their face, like I was ready to attack them. I'm sitting in the streets of Vrindavan, talking to somebody. Some guy's mad dog at me, looking me right in the face.
It wasn't mad dog.
Well, he was just looking at me.
Peaceful dog.
And I just said, "What's fun?" I really did a New Yorker too. I really ignored the person, pretended his face wasn't all up in mine. And then finally I snapped and I just resorted to the guy I was a month ago when I just went to Vrindavan for the first time. I said, "What's up?" And he goes, "Nothing, Prabhu." And he folded his hands like he's like, he folded his hands. "I was just looking at you." It was so sweet. I was like, oh, I was such a sick dog. And so it's like,
You were the mad dog.
I was the mad dog. So my point is, sometimes I smuggle bad habits from my past into my sacred circle, and that's a maha problem.
Okay.
And it can really throw me off my spiritual path. And so even if I make the commitment, I got to be careful for these bad habits of the past, because they stay in there. They
Don't just disappear.
They don't just disappear because I got the beads from Guru Maharaj. They stay with me, and I have to work on this. And a lot of times, okay, I don't, I have parameters with my sexuality, with my diet, with my, chanting of the holy name. But unless my behavior and my thoughts are not start,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Interactions with others.
Interactions with others.
That's what takes us off the beginner platform. The beginner has faith in God, but they don't, there's no depth to their understanding. We were talking about this in the course that we just did at the Eco Village, but there's Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, Bhagavan realization. And we may have faith in Bhagavan, like we may believe, I believe God's a person, I believe God is Krishna. But if we don't have even the application of the Brahman platform and the Paramatma platform, that we are all spirit beyond these material identities, that these material identities are illusory and they're gone in a moment and
Right.
unimportant, that God is in the heart of every living being. He's in my heart. The same God is in their heart, that we're all connected on the spiritual level. If I have faith that Krishna in this temple is God and I'm their devotee, but when I move through the world, I don't have any, even theoretically, I'm not even trying to apply this Brahman and Paramatma realization, which are all part of the one absolute truth, then it's very likely that my Bhagavan faith just manifests in all kind of inappropriate ways, and that's called the Kanishta platform. It's something that we have to make an effort to quickly surpass and begin to operate on the on that intermediate level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
All
I
right.
think that was a pretty good answer. You know what? The analogy I was thinking of earlier was, I've met people who are just like men, of course, sick of men, who are just like screwing around with girls all the time. And they're just sort of like, well, when I get married, I'll settle down. No. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's like
You wanna do that
your
little
practice
ceremony and it's
precedes the commitment. You got to just,
Gotcha.
you got to get your life together. If you expect those bad habits to go away, you got to make yourself of a higher echelon of being
Okay.
before you enter into that sacred commitment, or else it's just like an I do.
Clean it up.
nothing. Clean it up, man.
All right.
Men, sick of men.
Why do you forget in a men's case? Women can.
Oh, women. I'm sick of them too. I'm sick of women. Don't even get me going about women. Dogs are the only ones I like now. Dogs and cats are quite wonderful. Well, yeah, I actually don't even like dogs that much. I just like nice dogs and would never bite a human.
All right.
All right.
Next question. Do we know who this is from, Mara? The one about the Kumbh Mela?
About the
Another
anonymous.
anonymous.
Bhakti Anonymous is writing again.
Hit it.
Can you share more about the current Kumbh Mela? What makes it so special? Do you suggest devotees try to go? How can we create the essence of what makes it special at home if we can't make it in person?
That's interesting.
You know, it's interesting. Me and Mara almost decided to go today.
Oh, it's Kumbh Mela?
Yeah.
I was thinking today, I'd just pop in there for a day.
I know. You know why? Because we ran into our good friend Mukesh and Chanchal. And Chanchal is like Mara times 10 as far as introversion goes. She just like she'll go on pilgrimage with us and she will not leave her room.
Okay.
She'll just sit in meditation the whole day in her room. And she's like a saintly mystic, and Mara says she's not, but she's sort of saintly, Mara. But anyway, she was just like, Kumbh Mela was so meticulously organized.
Amazing, right?
She said there was no garbage around. It was clean. They had machines in the water cleaning the water.
Wow.
Yeah. And the camps were set up. And, you know, the ISKCON tent.
Machines in the water, cleaning the water.
The ISKCON tents were set up. They're serving how many people today? 100,000 plates of prasad today.
Is that a fact?
Something like that. Something ridiculous.
I've heard it was 50,000 per day, but they were aiming for 100,000 on
Okay.
some days coming up.
All right. Well, I just doubled it.
Double it.
Double it. Double it. You're feeding 50,000. You double that.
They
Okay.
did.
Okay, Raghunath.
They did.
So,
you know, it's incredible that if you want to see something like it, but not nearly on that level, there's that video. If you go to YouTube and Google India mega kitchens, and it shows some, but this is mega, you know, where the feed. So, and they, you know,
well, it's not like they're the only cooks for the whole festival.
No,
there's like other
Well,
millions of
okay,
mega kitchens there as well.
but I don't know if there's a bigger one. And they have, this is all coming out of the Eco Village and the Chopati Temple here.
Yeah.
And they got like
amazing.
train tracks. They build train tracks, and they have these like
Tiny little train.
no, like a good solid train. And they got like these big, you know, crank things, you know, trolley system and whole thing like this.
Hoists.
Because when you have this massive pot,
You
how
can't
you
lift them.
Yeah, so it's like this
You
whole.
probably have to make special pots.
When the pots are they're really big pots, and it's just an incredible setup. So anyway, let's get into this question. We got to answer.
Anyway, okay, it's the Kumbh. So anyway, we're actually contemplating going, but the closer you get to the end of February, it gets more and more auspicious. So
Yeah.
it just does get a little more crazy and crowded.
Okay. So let's look at the question.
Yep.
Can you share something more about the Kumbh Mela? What makes it so special? You know, the special, let's talk about it on the traditional level as well as like what's happening right now. You know, like on the traditional level, it's like a Puranic thing, right? That the Devas and the Asuras were churning the ocean of milk, and Vishnu appears as Mohini Murti and takes the nectar of immortality.
Nectar spills.
And there's a little bit and it spills, it drops in 4 places, right?
Name those 4 places, Miss Mara. Hot seat. Nasik. Yes, that's
Nasik?
one. Mara. No.
No.
She said Deva
You're
Prayag.
close. I
Very
mean,
close. Go down the river. 2 towns.
the second part of what you
Haridwar. Boom. You got that.
okay. And then the second part of what you said was good, the Prayag part. There you go, Prayagraj. Yeah,
There's one more.
that one you may have trouble with if you're not close now. No,
Where is it?
Ujjain.
Oh, Ujjain. Ujjain.
Yeah.
A lot of holy places in India. A lot of holy places.
But it's considered astrologically that things open up and it's an auspicious time. There's a deep faith that if you bathe in the river in these times, that it's for your spirit, that you know you can be granted access to
Higher planetary.
higher planets or even liberation, and so there's, in a sense, what it is you see the faith in the people of India come out, and they all want to be there. It's also an idea, idea is like, you know, everybody grows up reading these books about the sadhus and the sages, and you go there and there's just like thousands of them they come out of the woodwork, you know, so people want to see the sages, they want to bathe in the river at the auspicious time, and so they'll travel long distances to do it. But you know what I see happening now is this Kumbh Mela, what the impression I get
Yeah.
is that there's been a convergence of a couple things that have really made it blow up, which is like the social media age, you know, and
Yeah.
India catching up with that.
Yeah.
And then also, especially it was kicked off last year with the Ram opening of the Ram Mandir. There's just like there's an enthusiasm within India of like you could call,
Recreating classic India.
or yeah, you could,
India.
I would call it, in its best manifestation, I would call it enthusiasm, and in its less than best manifestation, I call it pride. But like,
National pride. Yeah.
an enthusiasm for the spiritual heritage of India is really alive in people now.
It's all over the world.
Yeah, it's all over the world. Just the other day, Coldplay was playing here in Mumbai to like 50,000 people,
And they came to the temple.
they came
And he
to,
said, Hare Krishna.
and he opened it. Yeah, he opened up his song with saying, Hare Krishna. Like,
And
wow.
Paula Abdul came to the temple yesterday,
Right.
which was pretty cool.
But so I think all those things are converging right now to make it just like a huge media event all around the world, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. I can appreciate that there's some enthusiasm for what are they into? What is so exciting about this? For us, we're not like Prabhupada would go to the Kumbh Mela. He went to at least two
Yeah.
of them with his disciples. And it wasn't that he or his followers were going there to go to the heavenly planets. It was the karmic approach or liberation, the Gyanik approach. He said the only reason that we're coming here is to share, this path of practicing Krishna bhakti.
This is the interesting thing about bhakti. It's not about good karma. It's not even about liberation from the pain of material existence. It's about escaping the cycle, the wheel of birth and death that we're caught in. So in one sense, the nectar
Is
of-
always there.
the nectar is always there.
It doesn't take a special astrological configuration or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is that, for those who don't know, it's the confluence of these three rivers, Saraswati, Yamuna, and Ganga. Now, some people say, well, the Saraswati doesn't even flow anymore. Matter of fact, there's just riverbeds that they can follow, the archaeologists can follow, and they can even date the Vedas from these riverbeds. But they say it does flow mystically, and that's where it would join.
Yeah.
And so in that confluence, and there is a potency of sangams, of coming together, just like there's a Harinam Sankirtan, we come together and that's more powerful. But the confluence of rivers, there's some special magic that happens at these places. So at these three holy rivers come together, and for this 1 month, it starts on what, Makar Sankranti, which is January-ish.
Yeah. It's the month of Magh, right? It's called the Magh Mela. So that's January, February-ish. Like.
Yeah.
But the question is, so do we suggest that devotees go? They can or they can't. It's like our thing is like we're whatever the astrological situation is, whatever the place is, we're giving our lives, trying to, as far as possible, give our lives, give our minds, give our hearts to Krishna. But yeah, it can be a nice place to go. We didn't go ourselves. We didn't go ourselves. Serving in other ways.
Yeah, I feel like if you're serving, here's the deal: you could be serving in a ghetto of Detroit or Chicago, right. And you're as close to Krishna right there serving as bathing in.
Yeah, you're bathing in the river right there.
Right there.
Yeah. But the one thing that was funny, the person asked, how can we create the essence of what makes it special at home? If we can't make it in person. In one sense, I think you just shared one way. But, I don't know how much you know about this, Raghunath, but I was involved in a plan to bring the Kumbh Mela to New York City.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember that. You and Eddie Stern were.
Yeah, it was really Eddie's thing. And he connected with this Baba who was part of the, I forget what that organization is called, but they're kind of like the organization of the Naga Babas and the big Mahants.
Oh, that's like what's that called? The Hinduism Today. There's a guy from Hinduism Today.
No.
Yeah, he's a Jewish guy.
No.
Has a head of
no. It's someone else.
Okay, forget it. Forget it.
But, and so a plan was being cooked up. Radhanath Swami was helping, and Satyananda Swami was.
The guy who runs Hinduism Today.
Yeah,
I know. A Jewish guy.
Okay, fine.
That magazine. I think that's an interesting, fun fact.
That is a very fun fact. But in any case, we had this whole plan, like, but the thing
what
is,
happened? What happened to it?
Well, the thing is that the group that puts on the actual Kumbh Mela was behind it, which is like crazy.
Wow.
And we were going to like make it part. The mayor of New York was opening the door for it. We were going to like it would be kind of like a Hudson River thing. We're going to do it on the Great Lawn in Central Park, and there are going to be 4 groups that would be involved in it. ISKCON was going to be one of them. And the idea was, big bands could also play there, just a track like, thousands. If we would have done that, that would have been the
You know what?
biggest Hindu event in the Western world in history. I mean, it would have been
I
on
think it's like
every
the-
magazine.
I think it's like the Buzzcocks versus Green Day.
What's that?
The Buzzcocks were just doing Green Day ahead of their time.
And so
And so the world wasn't ready. I say 5 years from now,
the world may
boom.
be ready.
5
Well,
years from now,
the world
Kumbh
actually-
Mela, New York City, the confluence.
Well, it wasn't
But there's no
outside. It
confluence,
wasn't
man.
outside forces that stopped it. It was inner conflict. Yeah, that bub ended up. Anyway, I won't even
Okay,
go into
go
all the
ahead.
details. It fell apart. It fell apart. Yeah, but it would have been cool. But again, how can you take the essence and make it happen?
Let's do our own. Maybe just do it without that Bubba.
Yeah, just
You and me.
That's the thing about spiritual.
You and me, Bubba.
Okay, we'll just do a
Our own little
Kumbh
one. A
Mela.
Super Soul Farm Kumbh Mela. Everybody get in the creek. Everybody.
But most important thing is the consciousness. So meditate on the Lord, meditate on the Ganga, and you'll be bathed in the Ganga in your own shower at home.
Read the pastime. Read the
Yeah.
pastime of the what's it called? Mantra.
Makara Sankranti.
No.
All right. What?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay. No. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not that I was thinking
It's
about.
not, but yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking about.
I
but
don't
you
know.
Definitely don't. Okay, another question. You ready?
All right. We're
Still-
done with that one?
Well, if you got some more.
Okay. No, I got nothing more.
Okay. This is from Stacy Cabrera, who's here with us today.
Yeah, not here with us, but down
Here
the
on the
road
show.
at a different hotel.
She's here right there on the top of the
Stacy
screen.
Cabrera. Stacy Cabrera. She's she's been with us sort of from the beginning.
Yeah.
And she disappeared.
And she came back to her peak.
And then she came back. And she's back and she's stronger forever. And she came back and I will say, let's unmute her right now. What we got her here. Sorry. We're unmuting you, Miss Stacy. Hi, Stacy. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I
Hi,
can
Bo.
hear you. Hey,
Stacy's
Bo.
you've been to India with us many times.
About 8.
Whoa,
8
wow.
times. Damn. Okay.
I started, first one was the pilgrimage with Perry, the photographer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was here last night, right?
Yeah. He was.
Yeah, he was there last
What year?
night.
That was 2016, I think.
Yeah.
Or 2014, maybe. I can't. Anyway, you were going along good. Then you moved. You moved. It changed locations, changed your job, and you had a little bit of a dark night of a soul. And then you called me, and you called me, and I gave you the medicine of listening to the show every day. And chanting japa. So you want to tell about that transition and how you got strong again? Do you mind sharing that? I know it's sort of public, but sometimes we can learn from persons. And you're very vulnerable,
Yeah.
but very real. And that's why we love you.
Of course, you don't have to share.
You don't have to share anything. I just did throw you in.
I think that, for me, it's definitely partly some of my own, like, just personal stuff that I need to work through. But
Sure.
to be honest, like, I was writing stuff down, like, because I didn't know if you were going to have time for my question. And I just, like, love Krishna, love myself.
Mm.
Like, that's where, like, when the flowers started falling,
Right.
I was in ecstasy. I was crying hysterically because I felt like my heart, like it just opened, and I just, like, I know what I need to do, and I just, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not my body, and the material world does not serve me at all. But the
Mm.
spiritual world serves me in so many ways. And so I feel like sometimes, like, instead of just doing what I know works, I do that, like what you said, like I'm a New Yorker. I butt up against it, and I just last night, I think honestly, I feel like this trip actually has been so many breakthroughs and for
Mm.
me. And like I said to Margie, I said, no, I think I'm finally, I'm not gonna cry. She goes, oh, you're gonna cry, Stacey, something like that. And
Give it time.
but I
She was right.
didn't, yeah, like, but I don't like I didn't take offense because the reality is I do cry because I feel
Yeah.
things in such a deep way. It's in here in such a deep way. And I have so much love for Krishna and the practices. And you know what? I did talk to Raghunath, talking just back to what you were saying about getting initiated.
Mm.
And I said, you know what? I don't want to get initiated just so they can call me Sita Lala, whatever. I want to get initiated
That's
with
the name I
my
was thinking
heart.
about for you.
You
Sita
were
Lal.
right. I knew Sita Lala. But I don't want that. I want it to be like I feel like I'm transforming as the trip is going on. And I'm not like, even just today, I was like reaching out for things that I wanted. I wasn't like waiting for people to wow, nobody's calling me, poor me. I changed. There's a
You're having
shift.
you're having like little various breakthroughs, which is beautiful. And that's what happens on pilgrimage. But I'm going to read your
Yeah.
question now, and I'm happy you're here
Okay.
because I feel like I just like I like watching you go through your stuff and overcoming it. It's nice to watch. Thank you for sharing, Prabhu. So here's Stacy's question. She says, "I want to ask: is there a time frame in which bhakti catches your heart, or can you stay focused and you will continue to grow? Never give up on yourself. You ever give up on yourself? Yeah. You ever give up on yourself, Kostuba?
Give what do you? I suppose we could interpret that in different ways. Give up on myself.
Yeah.
I like to think I don't.
Yeah. I want to ask, is there a time frame which bhakti catches in your heart?
I'd say that there's no material impediment. It's not bhakti is something that's beyond time. It's who you are, right? The devotion is our faith is that at our very core, we have love for God and love for every living being in our heart. It's not that it's not like a window that opens up and then closes. It's what you are, and it's always there underneath, and at any time it can be reawakened. That being said, we're granted opportunities in life, and we should try to take advantage of them and not let them slip through our fingers.
Mm.
But there's no window that's going to close, and no matter how many times we've fallen down, there's always the opportunity to get back up. And so, yeah, stay focused, and it will continue to grow, and definitely never give up.
Well, there's definitely a spiritual maturity, which is a skepticism with material life. You need a healthy skepticism of material existence and material joy. We say there's really just spiritual joy for the most part. There's spiritual joy. There's material fun, that's for sure. But real joy comes from being connected in a deep way. And I think it takes almost a breaking of your hope for material, like the material world is going to satisfy all my needs. And it takes a very sober person to get that. And I think that, I mean, I've been practicing for a while, but I think, like I said earlier, you come to different forks in the road. You come into a fork in the road when you're ill. You come to the fork when your heart gets broken. You come into a fork in the road if you lose all your wealth and you're like, and you just want to turn like, God, why did this happen to me? Why did I deserve this? So I think we do get tested, and bhakti does catch the heart. Like I know that bhakti has caught Stacy's heart. She can't deny that. And if you know Stacy, you won't deny that. But at the same time, does that mean she's free from all challenges? No. Challenges will come because Krishna is now like, Krishna's got the piece of wood. Like when a whittler starts to make marks on the wood with a pencil. Okay, I'm going to carve an eagle out. So he draws out an eagle. Then he takes a a knife, certain type of blade that cuts off big chunks, so the head of the eagle and the beak of the eagle can be, in a appropriate shape. But then after a while, you get more refined X-Acto knives. Start making the wings and the feathers, Kaustubha. Then, of course, you get to this point of sanding down. And so you got to understand, Krishna is always carving. He's always whittling. He's always sanding us to get us to that authentic state where 100% of the time, I just know, oh, Krishna, you are mine. In that great love and fervor, nothing can stop us.
Nothing.
Once you're on that train, suppose they close that door and you are on, American Airlines flying from New York to LA, even though you're just crossing Scranton.
Don't stop the screen.
It's as good as if you're in LA. Once they close that door and they sit down, put on your seatbelts, it's as good as if you're in LA. But you're not in LA. You're still in the air somewhere. So when we make our commitment, we make our initiation, it's as good as you're there. But we have to keep passing these little pop quizzes. Sometimes it's a pop quiz, isn't it? It's like, okay, everybody get out your pencil, put away your books. No more computers. It's a quiz today. And you're like, oh, I wasn't planning this. Yeah, I know. It's a pop quiz. Krishna's got pop quizzes for you on a regular basis. And sometimes they come in terms of loss, sometimes in terms of gain. Can I keep my cool and sobriety in times of great gain? It always sounds fun, but gain can wreck your life.
Okay.
Can you think of
what is it? What kind of crow next to me?
There's this crow up on the roof that I really like, and I've been feeding him papaya. Oh, it's time.
Yeah, it's time.
Kaustubha just pointed, said time.
A smooth, interaction. You don't even have to. You didn't have to take Kaustubha, just pointed. I could have said it, but I didn't want to break your flow.
Satyam, Kaustubha, satyam.
Truth.
Truthfulness.
Thanks
you, everybody, for joining us. Extra special love to Malini Radha and Rasi. We call him Rasi for short. And Stacey Cabrera being live on the show. And all you beautiful people on the show. Narayani is there with, who's Narayani sitting next to? Oh, Linda is there. Look at them in that hotel room just pillow fighting. John V. Pretty is somewhere poking around. Martine is here from Maine. And Raja Sundari Radha is not with us, but she's with us in spirit.